Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Wyoming Gun Owners. This video is going to be one part Ripley's Believe It or Not and one part Jeopardy.
There's a daily cash prize of $1,000 and
we're going to give you guys a lot of facts you might not know about some of the players in the fight for gun rights right now here in Cheyenne. You see, for 3 days now, Mark Jones, a lobbyist with Gun Owners of America, has been claiming that Senators Bo Banman, Tim Salazar, Troy McKuen, Tim French, Dan Larson, Bob Ide, Darren Smith, and Representative Bob Warf are secret gun grabbers because they support Senate File 196, WIGO's bill, which would fix the damage that GOA did to the Second Amendment Preservation Act here in Wyoming in 2022. For details on our bill and the bad version of SAPA that passed, watch our video from Saturday. It was posted just a couple of days ago. Check that out for more information on the bill. This is about GOA's claim that these men are anti-gun. They say they are. WIGO says they're not. Somebody is lying to gun owners in Wyoming, and I'm going to show you exactly who that is. I'm going to do that by reviewing the record of these lawmakers so you guys have the facts you need. I'm going to begin with the lead sponsor of this bill in the Senate, Vice President Tim Salazar. Okay, Senate Vice President Tim Salazar. Is he the secret gun grabber in the Wyoming State Senate? Well, let's kind of review some of the basic facts. Tim Salazar was the lead sponsor of WIGO's Stand Your Ground law in 2018. Salazar fought like hell to get this done. He batted down harmful amendments, and he even went toe-to-toe with then Governor Matt Mead, who threatened to veto the bill. Salazar never backed down, and that's why Wyoming has Stand Your Ground law today. Tim also co-sponsored and voted for such terrible anti-gun bills like our bill last year, SF 109, which banned red flag gun seizures here in Wyoming. He voted for HB 125 to repeal deadly gun-free zones here in Wyoming. He backed credit card privacy for gun sales. And let's not forget that it was Tim Salazar who had the guts to call out Gun Owners of America and Mark Jones when they pushed fake SAPA here in Wyoming in 2022. So yeah, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a hardcore leftist to me. That's that Tim Salazar, let me tell you. How about Bob Warf? Bob Warf is a lead sponsor of the House companion bill. Maybe Bob is the secret gun grabber in Wyoming politics. I first met Bob Warf in 2018 when we were pushing for Stand Your Ground law with Representative Salazar at the time. At that time, Bob Warf was a lobbyist, and he was there in the building all session, side by side with me, lobbying for Stand Your Ground law. Bob got elected then to the House in 2020. And in a shocking betrayal of gun owners, Bob Warf was the lead sponsor of HB 116, which is now law, which extended Wyoming's resident-only constitutional carry law to all law-abiding gun owners. Prior to Bob's bill, which is now law, constitutional carry only applied to residents of Wyoming. Now it applies to any law-abiding citizen who happens to be traveling through our state. So a really sneak attack on gun rights from Bob Warf in 2021 with HB 116. In 2022, Bob Warf was our lead sponsor in the House on the Second Amendment Preservation Act, the very bill that GOA hijacked and made into a terrible, watered-down version of what it was supposed to be. During his time in office, Bob Warf, to my knowledge, has co-sponsored every single gun bill that I can think of, except for the ones that he was the lead sponsor on. So what do you guys think? Is Bob Warf the secret gun grabber in the Wyoming House? I don't know about that. What about Senate President Bo Banman? Boy, everyone's hating on Bo these days because, after all, he gave chairmanships to rhinos. What about Bo Banman? Because, he kind of looks shady, doesn't he? He's kind of got a shady look. Maybe he's the bad guy. Let's dig into Bo Banman's record. In 2017, Bo Banman was the lead sponsor of WIGO's bill to repeal deadly gun-free zones, HB, I want to say 137. This bill passed both chambers, and it was vetoed by Governor Matt Mead. But throughout the entire process, Banman worked it, got it across the other chamber, got it passed over there, and put it on Governor Mead's desk. It is the same language from Beitman's bill in 137 way back in 2017 that we had last session in HB 125. And it's pretty much the same bill that passed the House just last week. It's been the same fight, and Bo Beitman was there from the very beginning and tried to get that done. Did get it done, except that Governor Meade vetoed the bill. 2018, stand your ground law fight. Bo Beitman was right there helping us stop the bad amendments that were being filed by his own party, and he, of course, was a yes vote on stand your ground law. 2022, he was a leading co-sponsor of WIGO's Second Amendment Preservation Act. And more than that, he had the guts, and this is a big deal. Bo Beitman had the guts to vote no on the Senate floor against the harmful fake version of SEPA that Mark Jones was pushing, because he knew it was fake, and he knew it would only help protect politicians. It wouldn't protect gun owners like you and me. Last session, it was Bo Beitman who was our lead sponsor on SF 109, the bill that is now law, which bans red flag gun seizures here in our state. He was a lead sponsor on that bill. He was a yes vote last session, HB 125, gun-free zone repeal. And when Governor Gordon vetoed this bill, see, first it was Governor Meade, now Governor Gordon, they both vetoed it. Bo Beitman voted for a special session to override that veto and ram it down Gordon's throat. That veto override session did not happen, but not because of Bo Beitman. So this guy has literally been there and done that for almost a decade. So maybe he's a secret gun grabber. If he is, Bo Beitman is truly a deep cover agent for the radical left. Maybe it's Troy McKuen. Maybe Troy is a secret gun grabber, even though the guy wears an AR-15 lapel pin on his suit coat, and even though he ran against Michael von Flatteren 4 years ago because Mike was sponsoring gun control bills in Cheyenne. Despite that, maybe Troy McKuen is the secret gun grabber. So what does the record show? He's been there for 4 years. What do we know about Troy McKuen? Well, first of all, he co-sponsored WIGO's Second Amendment Preservation Act in 2022. He, like Bo Beitman, had the guts to be on the Senate floor and to vote no on fake SEPA in 2022 because, again, he knew it was a fraud that would only protect politicians. He fought hard for us last year and for gun rights to help us ban red flag laws with SF 109. I mean, if you ever watched Troy McKuen on the floor in debate on a gun issue, I mean, this guy, he says like 8 words, right? Like some guys talk for a half an hour. They want to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Whenever McKuen gets up there, he's like, this amendment is anti-gun. The Constitution says shall not be infringed. I'm a no. And he slams the microphone down. The guy is an oak. And so, of course, he was a yes vote on the bill to repeal gun-free zones last year. And he also backed the call for a special session. So, yeah, I think McKuen sure looks like a dirty, rotten backstabber when it comes to gun rights. So maybe, okay, maybe it's Tim French, right? Surely that mountain man haircut is hiding a deep hatred for gun owners and the Second Amendment. So let's review. French has been in office now for 4 years and about 2 weeks. 4 years and 2 weeks. In that time, he was a no vote on fake SEPA. That took guts. He was a co-sponsor, leading co-sponsor on real SEPA in 2022. He was there all session long last year, fighting alongside of us, get that straight, to help us get rid of red flag laws in Wyoming, which we did, SF 109. He was also a yes vote on HB 125, which banned gun-free zones, or tried to repeal gun-free zones. And when the Republicans in the Senate last year killed that bill in the Judiciary Committee, it was Tim French and some others who worked procedural motions on the floor to resurrect that bill like Lazarus out of the committee and put it on the floor for a vote. That was an amazing thing to be there to watch. Surely not normally the things that you would expect from a secret gun grabber in Cheyenne. Because he was so relentless, French got a primary last year for being too pro-gun. Of course, he destroyed his primary opponent 57 to 41%, but, who's counting? Yeah. I'm thinking maybe Tim French isn't the guilty party here in Cheyenne. So what about Dan Larson? Maybe he is the secret change agent. After all, he did grow a shifty beard since last session. But wait, Dan Larson's record on guns is 100% too. Dan Larson was, like the rest of these guys, a leading co-sponsor of SEPA in 2022. He was a no vote on the bogus BS GOA fake SEPA bill in 2022. He fought like hell to help us ban red flag laws last year, SF 109. He was right there for HB 125 to repeal deadly gun-free zones. He was a yes vote on the call for a special session to override Gordon's veto. And folks, that's just the work that Dan Larson has done in the Senate. In the House, it was Dan Larson who had the balls to force record roll call votes against his own party when they were putting pro-gun bills in the drawer and refusing to put them on the floor for a vote. So, yeah, it kind of looks like Dan Larson's probably 100% pro-gun. So maybe it's Bob Ide. He looks a little guilty. Maybe it's Bob, except for the fact that it was Bob Ide who ran against Drew Perkins, the biggest rhino snake at that time, just 2 years ago, specifically because Drew Perkins sucked on the Second Amendment. So in 2018, we were passing Stand Your Ground law. It was Drew Perkins who ran a terrible amendment that gutted 5 key concepts in Stand Your Ground law. Now, we rammed that right back into the bill the next day with our own amendment, but Drew Perkins is a snake in the grass. He always has been. That's why he is chief of staff to Governor Mark Gordon today. Very few people had the guts to run after someone who was so protected as Drew Perkins was. Bob Ide did, because Bob Ide was sick and tired of watching Perkins betray gun owners. That's why he won his race in 2022. Over the last 2 years, Ide's been 100% on guns. He backed SF 109. He backed HB 125. He backed the call for a special session. So I'm not thinking that Bob looks too guilty here either. Last but not least, maybe it's the dirty, rotten freshman. Gotta check the freshman. Maybe Darren Smith, the guy who replaced Anthony Bouchard, SD6. Maybe he is a leftist change agent trying to dismantle the Second Amendment. Because after all, he's been in office for only 2.5 weeks, so there's not a lot to go on. But here's what we know when it comes to Darren Smith. He surveyed 100% pro-gun with WIGO just last year when he ran for office. He was a leading co-sponsor days ago on Senate File 196, the bill we're talking about, our bill to fix the Second Amendment Preservation Act. And I feel like I'm forgetting some other... Oh, yes, it was Darren Smith who impressed President Donald J. Trump so much that Trump personally endorsed him in his primary right here in little old Wyoming last August. So, guys, I've had some fun here pointing out the obvious asinine absurdities of Mark Jones calling these guys anti-gun. But this is no laughing matter at all. Clearly, GOA's Mark Jones is very intentionally lying to gun owners in Wyoming about these guys. The question obviously is why? The answer is, honestly, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's because everyone now knows the fake SEPA bill we passed in 2022 was a joke that only helped rhinos. Maybe it's because Mark Jones is bitter. None of the names I mentioned earlier in this video endorsed him when he ran for the Wyoming House last year, which is why he got his ass kicked. Maybe it's because Mark Jones has got a weird-looking head, and he's bitter because of it. I don't know. What I do know is these senators and Bob Warf from the House who are fighting to fix the Second Amendment Preservation Act are the most courageous gun rights champions that we have in office today in Wyoming. Please take a moment to thank these guys for having the guts to fight for our gun rights. Again, it's very easy to campaign on guns, go to Cheyenne and do nothing. These guys willfully, intentionally put themselves in the line of Mark Jones' fire because they know it's the right thing to do. Thank them for doing that. Then take a moment to contact GOA and tell them to apologize to these guys for their horrible character assassinations of their records. Number 3, hit the link we prepared for you guys below and urge the rest of the legislature to support this bill. And finally, share this video all over social media. Get the word out. It's on X, it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube. Find it wherever whichever platform you prefer. Find it, share it, and make sure everyone knows that Mark Jones is a liar who is doing all that he can to harm the best allies of the Second Amendment that we've ever had here in Wyoming.